Are the Dallas Stars willing to experiment more with their defensive pairs? Because I think they should, and I'll tell you why next.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. So I did a deep dive on the Dallas Stars defensive pairs, and there were some alarming statistics that I want to share with you and why I believe the Stars should be more liberal with their defensive pairs moving forward. Find out what they have. We're going to preview the Boston Bruins as well as Shooting Star on a Wednesday edition of Locked On Stars. Tomorrow, I'll be posting a post-game reaction episode following the Bruins game. And then on Friday, I have a crossover episode with Locked On Wild that will air ahead of Saturday's game against Minnesota. So a jam-packed week for you on Locked On Stars. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, never miss an episode. Drop a like, drop a comment as well. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Well, after the Dallas Stars and head coach Pete DeBoer scratched Matt Dumba on Monday against the Penguins, and we saw Miro Heiskanen with Esa Lindell, it got me thinking a little. Let's go ahead and look at some of the numbers with our defensive pairs through the first month or so, and maybe we get a hint or a skosh of idea of where possibly the Matt Dumba scratch is coming from. And we also got a look at Miro with Lindell and some different defensive pairings. We got Brendan Smith, of course, with Nils Lundkvist, which I don't think is a long-term solution to the Dallas Stars problem, but one they had to use because of the healthy scratch. Now you look at some of the numbers with Matt Dumba and Miro Heiskanen, and it kind of gives you an explanation for possibly some of Miro's lack of offensive quality this season. And the Stars as a whole have not been great in terms of defenseman point totals this season. They rank towards the bottom in the NHL. Harley leads the way with 7 points. You have Miro there that's now at 6 after his 2 goals the other night. And Lindell is right there with 6 points. But it has been a slow roll on that front. But you look at some of the advanced numbers, and if you look at expected goals for pairings that have played at least 50 minutes this season, and this is at 5-on-5, and this is what really jumped out to me. This is throughout the entire NHL via natural stature. You can look this up. At 5-on-5, expected goals for Matt Dumba and Miro Heiskanen rank 115. 2.34 is their expected goals for. And that is right around Esa Lindell and Ilya Lyubushkin at 2.12. These are pairings that have played at least 50 minutes this season at 5-on-5. And that really jumps out to me because you have Miro, one of the more talented offensive defensemen in the NHL. It's not his whole game, but it is a part of it, like we saw the other night. But when he's playing with Matt Dumba, those numbers reflect more of a defensive game like you get with Esa Lindell and Ilya Lyubushkin, who you don't expect to put up a lot of offense. That's your shutdown pairing. That's the pairing the Stars put out there on the penalty kill. And late in 5-on-5, if the Stars are holding on to a 1-2 goal lead, 6-on-5, more than likely you're going to see Ilya Lyubushkin and Esa Lindell. And you can even look at just the Stars pairings in general. Heiskanen and Dumba, an expected goals percentage, is 36%. It's second to last on the team. Second to last. And that's supposed to be kind of your top pairing. And maybe we did not foresee part of the weaknesses of Matt Dumba's game kind of spilling over into what could be an answer to why Miro has not had a fantastic start to the season. And albeit it's not all on Matt Dumba, I don't think it all falls on number 4 either. I think the answer is probably somewhere in the middle. But this gives the Stars a chance. If DeBoer is going to sort of set the tone with healthy scratches and playing the best 6 available night in and night out, then I think you can have Miro play with different guys until you find something that works. And I think Esa Lindell may be the best opportunity. And we only have a small sample size of this. And the game got out of hand really early. It was 6-0, of course, after the first 20. So you can't take a lot of stock into that because you're not going to play the majority of your contests. But you even look at Heiskanen and Lyubushkin, and that's a pairing that I wanted to see coming out of training camp and in preseason. And we didn't get to see that a lot. But in the limited time they have played together, it's only 17 minutes. Their expected goals percentage is 81.8%, and that is first on the Dallas Stars. And it's only 17 minutes, but then you could possibly play Harley and Lindell. That could be a really, really shutdown pairing for you. And then you could also keep Lindell up there with Miro, and then you have Lundqvist and Dumba. It drops Dumba down to where I think he is going to be in a more suitable role, and that is your 5th or 6th defenseman at this point in time. Or you could have, you could have Harley and Lindell. Harley, Lindell, Miro, Lyubushkin. That's your top 4. That top 4 I like a lot more than what the Stars have sort of been trotting out there. And I know that's not really the case because the minutes get switched around, and really it's kind of been everybody plays with everybody at some points depending on the situation. But it looks like the Stars want more offense out of their back end. I think Pete DeBoer is frustrated, and I think he realizes if they can get their defensive pairs figured out, I think it will really drive the offense because it's all about puck movement. And if the Stars can move the puck out of their zone quickly, I think you're going to be a lot more successful with either either Miro, Lyubushkin, Miro, Lindell, and then Harley, Lindell, Harley, Lyubushkin. Any of those top 4, I think those are your top 4 defensemen. Lundqvist has earned his spot, and Dumba can be he could be your 6th defenseman. However you want to rank the D-men, but I think Niels has to be in every day. He's earned the opportunity. He's been fantastic. And Dumba can be productive, or he can be successful in this system. It's just not with Miro. It's not with Miro Heiskanen. And it's frankly not in the top 4. It's not where he's going to thrive. I had those concerns coming into the season. I think we're seeing it play out here. And I think Dallas can be successful with their resources, so to speak, that they have now, if they're willing to experiment and find it a bit more and not just hold on to what they sort of found out in the preseason. And look, I'll be the first to tell you, it looked like Miro and Dumba were going to work together. But it was the preseason when we saw it. So, maybe I took too much stock at it. But you look at some of the numbers, and it's not like they're shutting down defensively either. It's not like they have high marks there. So I think there's a lot of questions. And if you look at the expected goals against, Esa Lindell, Ilya Lyubushkin are 11th in the NHL amongst pairings that have played at least 50 minutes. And that's where you would expect them to be. That's the Stars shutdown pairing. And if you go further down, Miro and Dumba rank about 60th, and Lyubushkin and Harley are right there at 60th or 61st. And then Lundqvist and Lindell are at 62 and expected goals against. They're right around 3.5 there. So you have one pairing that is way above the rest, and then the others are kind of clumped around 60th. Think if you move some bodies around, you get a couple of pairs offensively and defensively that are going to rank more towards the top 25 rather than like Dumba and Heiskanen are down at 120th. That's not a top pairing. It's not a top pairing. Lindell and Miro could be your solution, but Lyubushkin, I think, is interesting because he's played well. Think he could be a perfect partner for Miro as well. We already talked about it ad nauseum before about Lyubushkin playing with Morgan Rielly in Toronto. It would allow Miro to still play his game because he's not having to worry as much about his partner. Maybe we're seeing that a bit with Matt Dumba. Then again, Dumba is trying to figure it out. He's trying to, but at the same time, as you know, Pete DeBoer has told us, the coaching staff told us, it's just not good enough right now. It's not good enough to win games. So I think Dallas has to experiment more. And I think some of those numbers, I mean, were pretty alarming. I really hadn't looked at them that closely. And then you're like, okay, Heiskanen and Dumba have played a lot together in their expected goals percentage, 36.4. Well, and it's not like they're shutting down opponents. Their expected goals against is second highest at 4.2. So they're not really doing anything well. And part of that, I think, is I don't think Miro's been great. I don't think Dumba's been great. So put them in situations where they can be more successful. And maybe Monday was an unintended consequence or an unintended solution to possibly their problem. And that's where I'm trying to get at. I think they can experiment a bit more. And Dumba is more suited as your fifth defenseman or sixth than in your top pairing. And I know it's not like this guy's, your number two. I understand that. But if you're asking him to play those minutes, like it just, then he is. He's playing quite a bit this season. If you look at the average time on ice, Miro's up there leading the way. You have Lyubushkin. I know Dumba hasn't played a ton with this injury, but he's still averaging about 17 minutes per game. And that's kind of where Lyubushkin has lived. So, they're kind of telling you Dumba, we don't see Dumba playing on the PK that much. I mean, he does take quite a few penalties, but they don't trot him out there and in situations where you need to kill. You need to not give up a goal, right? We're seeing that with Lyubushkin and Lindell a bit more. So I think your pairing should reflect that a bit. And I think it will put a lot of other players in successful roles. And Niels, at this point, I think he can kind of play with everybody. I think he can kind of play with whoever. Brendan Smith, Dumba, it has to be Lindell. He just seems like a guy that's kind of go about his business. And he is versatile enough because he's mobile and can move that, I think anybody kind of works for him. So it's not like you have to be like, okay, it's this young, guy we have back here. We kind of have to shelter him. I don't think that's the case anymore. If anything, you're kind of asking basically what the Stars have done with Ryan Suter over the last few seasons. Dumba has kind of become him, right? Has kind of become him. And to be frank, I think Ryan Suter's honestly was a little bit better. That may be a hot take, but I said it. So that's how we're going to end the segment. Let's preview the Boston Bruins next. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy like an unraveled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code NHL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently delivered the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. Thinking about getting my brother-in-law one of these. He is a grill master. He needs some Omaha steaks. So from legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NHL and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% at OMAHA.omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code NHL. Minimum purchase may apply. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is also brought to you by Select Quote. The World Series, the Super Bowl, the Olympics. The world's top athletes get to play in these top-level sporting events thanks to one thing: teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. Select Quote's licensed insurance agents are the perfect teammates when shopping for customized, affordable life insurance. They can find you the right policy to keep your financial legacy safely in your family's end zone. Select Quote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. You invest so much time to take care of yourself and to be the healthiest, the best version of you. Select Quote's exclusive policies can reward that effort. If you're in good health, they work with carriers that could get you same-day coverage for up to $5 million, no medical exam required. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. Go to select.com/NHL today to get started. That's selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. So the Dallas Stars taking on the Boston Bruins tomorrow, 7 o'clock start on Victory Plus at the American Airlines Center. The Bruins, since the Stars last met, are now 5-4-1 in their last 10 after picking up a 3-2 victory on Tuesday against St. Louis on the road. A late goal from Pastrnak. In that game, the Bruins took it 3-2, and they've been a bit better. If you remember the last time these two sides met, Boston had been really bad in terms of their discipline. They've taken the most penalties in the NHL. They've cleaned up their act a bit in that department, but their power play is still bad. Their PK is really bad as well. They're both below league average. 75% on the PK for Boston, 12.5% on the power play. Just 8 power play goals this season through 16 games, which is kind of hard to believe. And you could say the same about Dallas. They only have 9 power play goals in their first 15, and a third of those came against the Bruins when the Stars won 5-2. They scored 3 power play goals in that game when they were in Beantown last month. They've played a lot of close games in their last 10. I want to say 5 or 6 of those, it could be 5, have gone past 60 minutes. So they've played a lot of hockey. Dallas will get a chance to possibly play a Boston team that is pretty weary. Jim Montgomery, their head coach, is trying to inject something into their lineup because they're in the similar boat as Pittsburgh right now. You know, Pasta and Marchand are leading the way, but other than that, they don't have a ton of help. Their best line has been their fourth line, which can consist of Justin Brazeau. Kastelik has been off to a great start. John Beecher as well. I mean, it's kind of offense by committee, but they're not getting a ton out of a lot of different guys. So it's been a bit of a struggle bus for Boston, but they're sorting it out and they're finding ways to win recently. But this is another chance for Dallas to flex some of that depth and go out and try to put the game out of hand sort of early, like they did on Monday against Pittsburgh, and fly around like you did on Monday night, make Boston's life hell, draw some penalties. And if you do that and you limit 88 and 63, you're going to have a good night at the arena if you can do that. And they did that to a T in Boston last month. They have to do it again. Stop 88 and 63. I know Pasta got a goal. It was off a really, really bad turnover. I want to say it was maybe Harley. It could have been Dumba. I can't remember exactly who had that really, really poor turnover behind the net that led to a goal. Hopefully we can see Swayman Ottinger. We didn't get that the first time around. It was Swayman versus DeSmith. So possibly we get the two United States netminders in between the pipes, which would make for a fantastic duel. But last time the Stars saw Korpisalo. So look, it's a team that is not very good. They are a pretty poor 5-on-5 team. If you remember too, their Corsi for percentage 48.35. That is 23rd in the NHL. Dallas has increased that number. They're 53.23, which is now 8th in the NHL, which is more or less where they have lived under Pete DeBoer. And those are at 5-on-5 because, Boston hasn't been a very good 5-on-5 team. And Dallas is slowly but surely getting back to where we would expect them. And I think with the slight changes of defensive pairs, it could really help the Stars offensively. And it was good for them to flex a little bit, get some frustrations out, and pot 6 goals in one period. Probably not going to happen consistently or again, but this is the Dallas Stars. They are prone to doing they are prone to doing the abnormal. So let's just say I wouldn't be shocked if they come out and put the beat down on Boston. But it's a good matchup, and if you face Swayman again, he can easily steal a game. This is another game I think you just ride Ottinger. I hope they play him a lot, give him some time to get into a rhythm and play against some really good teams. And, I don't know if Boston is going to be there towards the end of the season. With their win, they're currently 3rd in the Eastern Conference, or not 3rd in the East, but they're 3rd in the Atlantic, along with Toronto and Florida. They're not too far behind. So they're still playing decent hockey so far this season. But, it's not a team that has a ton of depth. And not a team that has a ton of weapons. It's kind of the usual suspects. And the game, the real takeaway I took out of that last game last month in Boston was the defense just really slow for the Bruins. I thought they were slow, and Dallas just was buzzing around and just won almost every 50-50 puck, won a lot of their battles. They were more physical. So expect that again. And, DeBoer spoke to the team's response on Monday. He said they've been a response team since he's been there, and that's always been the case. I feel like when Dallas has either gotten embarrassed or they play a few games where they just look atrocious, and then I come on here and I rant, then they look like world beaters the very next game. And that's just the roller coaster of emotions we go through during an 82-game stretch, which it's always fun. Probably takes years off my life, but it's certainly worth it at the end of the day because Stars are a damn good team. Just wish they would show it a bit more. So, Stars have a lot of advantages here. I don't think they should have an issue. I really don't. I think they're a better team, but, got to go out and prove it. I can only say it. So, a lot to look forward to on tomorrow's front. I'll be posting a post-game reaction episode, so be on the lookout for that. I will not post one in the morning. It just makes more sense because crossover edition with Locked On Wild on Friday with Seth. So look forward to that as well as we wrap up your week. Okay, let's play Shooting Star and get out of here. It's been a long episode, but that's okay. I'm sure all of you love to hear me ramble. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and you can get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you place your first $5 bet. And you win. You have to win. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Alrighty. You already know my pick. The Stars are playing the Bruins. It didn't fail me last time when these two teams met. Tyler Seguin. Seguin again against the Bruins. It's always the revenge game. He has been glorious so far this season. I mean, what a year. What a year for Mr. Tyler Seguin. I'm still almost mesmerized. He has 7 goals in 10 games this season. And Matt Duchene is outpacing him with 8. Seguin has another big game against the Bees, this time at home. Give me 91, going with him again against the Bruins on tomorrow's Shooting Star. Let me know. I'll post it tomorrow via the YouTube community tab. I know I've been a bit lackluster on that recently. Again, I apologize. I'm going to be better. You'll have to hold me accountable, and I appreciate you for doing that. So let me know. Vote tomorrow who your Shooting Star pick is going to be. You fans, you wonderful Locked On Stars listeners, chose Duchene on Monday. So credit to you. I said Maverick Bourque could not have been more wrong. So look, I digress on that. But Seguin's going to get me back on track tomorrow night. I'm going with Seguin. So there you go. There's my Shooting Star pick for you on Thursday. Stars taking on the Bruins, 7 o'clock start at the American Airlines Center on Victory Plus. It will be an absolute hoot. Cannot wait to take that one in. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Again, an awesome Locked On crossover edition with the Wild on Friday. So that should be an absolute blast as well. I know you listeners love those episodes because y'all get tired of hearing me. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy tomorrow's action, and we'll see you on Friday. So long, everybody.